Hello, my name's Ryan Bonda, and today we are talking about realism in Roman statues. The Romans had an extremely good grasp on realism within their statues. The artists used many defining features that made the statues easily recognizable. A good example of that would be the statue Augustus of Prima Porta. The statue Augustus of Prima Porta was created in the 1st century BC. A very important aspect of the statue is who it actually represents, which is the old Roman Emperor Augustus, who brought peace and prosperity to Rome for over 200 years. He saw a need for a militarized country and used tactics like creating a more effective and permanent measure, however, was to secure the roads and make them fit for rapid military movements, as stated by Evelyn S. Schuckburgh in her book Augustus, The Life and Times of the Founder of the Roman Empire. As a powerful ruler, it makes sense that the sculptures would try and make him look powerful. They succeeded in this. If you look at his stance and his arm outstretched, you can see that his power and him calling out to the troops. However, the sculpture's physical aspects are the most impressive part of the whole piece. The statue is made of entirely marble, which was popular for Roman art during this time period. On the bottom of the statue, it can be seen that there is a cupid on top of a dolphin. The whole statue commemorates Augustus and his victories, according to accredited information outlet, smarthistory.org. The dolphin became a symbol of Augustus's great naval victory over Mark Antony and Cleopatra at the Battle of Actium in 31 BCE, a conquest that made Augustus the sole ruler of the empire. This was an important part of his life because it solidified him as the official ruler of the empire. The cupid on him is also a reference to his family's connection to Venus, because a cupid being Venus's son. Roman art took lots of inspiration from Greek art, as stated by Gisela Ricker in the Journal of Roman Studies, Volume 48. It is, of course, true that when we survey the many copies of Greek words made in the 1st century BC and later, those in the Phedian, Polyclasian, and Praxillean styles abound. This could be attributed to many Greeks being enslaved by the Romans. According to Visual Art Cork, which is an encyclopedia for art, like the Romans themselves, early Roman art tended to be realistic and direct. This means that they focused on making the statues as realistic as possible. The dolphin and cupid are a perfect example because with a simple glance, it is not hard to realize who they are. They have defining features. The cupid has wings and is designed like a child. An interesting part of the cupid portion is that you see the baby fat, and this is done by the marble being sculpted with ridges that give it dimensions. Another good example of realism in this statue was Augustus's breastplate, which had impressive iconography. According to artandcontext.org, the breastplate is sculpted in relief with several miniature figures commemorating the restoration of the Roman legionary eagles surrendered to Parthia by Mark Antony in the 40s BC. According to the most accepted interpretation, the figure in the center represents a subdued Parthian ruler returning Crassus's banner to an armored Roman. It is important to history because it marks a day that Augustus used peace and diplomacy to come to the end of a conflict. The breastplate design has lots of different dimensions to it. The miniature figures on it are all extended from the base of the plate. The sculptors put defining features on each of them. The men were wearing gender-specific outfits and had other defining features like beards, while the women had gender-specific outfits as well and had longer hair. The artist used very good handwork. On his arms and his body, you can see the muscles and his aging of being very young. The breastplate itself has very deep lines and very intricate ones that tell a story. Apart from the chest plate, Augustus is also wearing a toga. You can see just how much work was put into this part. The ruffles in it give it a realistic feel as if it was actually a cloth. The cloth isn't equally as long, which makes it a little bit more realistic. The toga is also being held by Augustus to show the cupid and dolphin off. There are many theories as to what he is holding in his left hand. According to MIT, The left hand is often portrayed as carrying a spear, as the Doryphorus style would dictate. Others claim it should hold a scepter, which given to him by the restorer. Still, others claim the left hand would hold the laurel branch. The nice thing about this statue is that it wants you to know exactly who it is. The single most important aspect of realism within this statue is the head of it. The statues of Augustus made over time all portray him at different times in his life. This one shows him in his glory and success. The haircut is specific to this time in his life. According to Gardner's Art Through the Ages textbook, Augustus's head, although depicting a recognizable individual, also emulates the idolized Polycletian youth's head in its overall shape, the sharp ridges of the brows, and the tight cap of layered hair. The detail of his face helps you place what time of his life in the art in which it was based off of. He has a youthful face and a smooth finish. The thing about Roman art is that it takes a huge inspiration from different art types, which makes it interesting. It has its own unique art, but is also undertones of other art. If you look at Augustus's head, you can see his neck, which has muscles, and these lines are done to make it seem realistic. He has ears, a nose, eyes, a mouth, and hair. You can tell that when the statue was being made, that they wanted it to look as exact to Augustus as they possibly could.